Well, WWE actually shocked the world of pro wrestling last night at the end of SmackDown. And the wildest part is that wasn't even the original plan. That was an audible that was called. And it ended up damn near epic. We're going to talk all about it from top to bottom, start to finish, beginning to end. SmackDown for Friday, September 22nd, 2023, in this very weekend edition of the Amped Up Podcast. It's all coming up. BC's got a fresh vanilla latte from the fine folks at Starbucks. I got a little bit of time, so believe me when I say no segment from last night will go untalked about. But I want to spend this cold open teaser time on some breaking news that broke before SmackDown. I think you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. The release from WWE of Matt Riddle. This is one of those scenarios and situations where it just doesn't make sense, right? Like a Dolph Ziggler, Mickie James, even Bray Wyatt, when they got released, you just said, what? Doesn't make sense. Matt Riddle had all the potential in the world to be something massive in this industry. WWE actually gave this dude a couple 2-3 pushes from the jump. That's how much they saw something in him. And especially for his age, which I believe is about 37 years old. That's not old, but in WWE's whole age capsule, that's over the hill and then some. If you're over 30, WWE has to give you a second look to decide if they're going to push you or not. And if you're over 35, they already file you under the category of ain't gonna happen, buddy. That's just WWE. That's why they waited so long. One of the many reasons they waited so long with LA Knight. It's one of the main reasons they still hesitate on Asuka. But to be pushing 40 and them to believe in Matt Riddle so much to give him that many pushes and give him a 4th strike. A lot of you guys don't even realize WWE's wellness policy. It's basically 3 strikes and you're out. He already has 3. For some reason, the 3rd time was never accounted for. We know he failed the test the 3rd time, but they came up with some other excuse. They still suspended him, and then they said he was just injured or something. But he actually failed a 3rd time. And I believe this happened to Randy Orton in the past as well, where they actually violated 3 times, but WWE bent the policy to fit their own needs. They did not want to get rid of Orton, obviously, and for some reason they wanted to hold on to Riddle. So he was actually on his 4th try. So as long as this dude stayed the course, busted his ass, and made more right decisions than wrong, did more good than bad, he was sitting pretty at the table of WWE. You'd have to really screw up to lose your seat at that table. And recently, unfortunately, that's what happened. He put up this post about how a New York airport kind of violated him during security, right? The security kind of breached what he felt comfortable with. But then we found out more to the story. An entire plane had to be deplaned. Everybody get off because of one idiot. If you travel a lot or a little, you maybe have heard stories about the deplaning, right? You just have somebody who's had one too many to drink or is on something else, or it's just the lights are on, but nobody's home, and they're obnoxious, they're belligerent, and they make the entire plane deboard so that law enforcement can take them off. And it doesn't just delay everything. It makes for a miserable flight experience. Well, Matt Riddle ended up being that person under the influence of something. The entire plane had to deboard. And if you've ever traveled, again, a lot or a little, you know how extensive the searches are, right? You have to take off your hat, your jacket, your shoes. You go through the machine. You wait for the other machine to see everything you have in your bags. Then you're cleared. You can get your bag back. Then there's a person waiting at the end of the assembly line to pat you down some more. So just imagine if you're the idiot, the schmuck, that got an entire plane deplaned. Yeah, the extensive search is going to be even more intrusive. So I don't know what he was expecting. He took that post down real quick because he knew that's something that could probably get him in a lot of trouble. Not just with WWE, but with a lot of entities. And but by that point, it was already out there. And WWE was like, this dude's already on his 4th chance. This dude has already created so many headaches for us. It's no longer worth it. And I think that's what WWE decided. A lot of people are lumping it in with the other releases from Thursday. But guys, only one name the next day right before SmackDown. I think this just had to do with Matt Riddle becoming a liability more than he was a reliability. And in any company, if you become a liability more than a reliability, your days are numbered in that company. And I think that's what happened with Matt Riddle. I don't think this was an initial plan to lump him in with the other releases. This was Matt Riddle, unfortunately, using up all his strikes and then some. We hope the best for the dude. I never vibed with his character. I always liked serious Matt Riddle more than comedy Matt Riddle. I felt serious Matt Riddle was best for business. But unfortunately for BC and many others, 99.99% of the time, like a Clorox wipe, he was always doing his comedy shtick. Coming out there with his flip-flops that shoot out butterflies, Scooter 5000 down the aisle. He's got his nail polish on neon lime green, and he's cutting his 420 jokes. That type of character and that type of spiel in small doses can be okay. But when it's every week, every segment, it ends up being obnoxious. It's actually annoying. So as much as we all saw so much potential and we hoped that the character kind of finds itself and we can all enjoy Matt Riddle's work, the comedy was just becoming obnoxiously annoying. And we are starting to see less and less serious Matt Riddle. So I never really connected with that. So we had a lot of fun with Matt Riddle on the channel. Nail Polish Nelson, Flip Flops Flanagan, Scooter Stevenson, and the original Scooter McGee. I'm going to miss those phrases, right? I'm going to miss that. But in WWE, you never know. He could come back. I used to miss She Injures Mouse Girls, which was the new theme song for Nia Jax. And then she went away. We kind of missed that, but here she is. Be careful what you wish for. You just may get it. And now we're doing the Nia Jax theme song again. She injures mouse girls. But in all seriousness, we have some, we kid because we care. We want to see all of these individuals do great work, entertain us, and everybody walks away happy. That's the hope. What it boils down to is not everything is Vincent Kennedy McMahon's fault, and not everything is Paul Levesque McMahon's fault. Sometimes you just look in the mirror and say, I done screwed up again. That's what happened here. Sometimes it takes you multiple times to get it right? He's on his 5th chance now. Unfortunately, it will not be in WWE. But Matt Riddle's going to be just fine. He's got all the potential in the world. He's got all the talent in the world. He's going to be just fine. He's going to jump on his scooter and he's going to ride off, not into the sunset, but into another organization. If you're a big Matt Riddle fan, you have not seen the last of Matthew Riddle. He'll be fine. Just because he didn't connect with people, character-wise anyway, with people like BC, doesn't mean we didn't want and we still don't want the best for him, because we do. So this is a time for him to reflect, get better, do better, and become better. So to Matt Riddle, salute, man. Thank you for the entertainment. I always enjoyed Riddle's work through NXT when he first got to the roster. And then it started the booking of Matt Riddle. They just saw how he can really thrive in the goofy character. And Vince ended up loving that, loving it. So he pigeonholed him into the corner. And then Paul Levesque McMahon just didn't know what to do with Matt Riddle. What to do. Again, main roster is a different beast than NXT. And somewhere like NXT, Paul Levesque might be able to contain it a little more. Paul, it was clear. He didn't know what to do. You go over here with Drew McIntyre. Fight the Vikings again. they just... And then Matt Riddle didn't help himself. So, yes. Unless you've been living underneath a rock for the last 24 hours, Matt Riddle has been released by WWE. We do not believe that this was any part of the original cuts. This was a separate issue. This is something that WWE was probably thinking is long overdue. Again, he became a liability more than a reliability. And when that happens in any company, you're pretty much done. So to Matt Riddle, we'll see what his next move is. But salute. Thanks for the entertainment. And we look forward to seeing you in the future. Hopefully a bit more serious, a little bit less comedy. A little bit. Just a little bit less. All right, guys. Big swig of coffee, and then we're going to come right back. SmackDown for the 22nd of September. WWE did something that shocked the wrestling world. They cared last night. They actually put in effort. Did it work out? We'll talk about it. Ah, yes. Amplified. That's it, man. This is number 10 on the day. So the 10th it's my first latte too. So 9 straight coffees and then finally a latte. Go figure, man. Quarter 1 of this show, SmackDown. We start the show off with an epic fail. Now that's saying something. Talk about the two different sides of the fence, right? Two different sides of the coin. We start off with an epic fail, but by the end of the night, it was an epic success. But we start off with an epic fail. John Cena starts us off. Good pop. I'm okay with this, right? John Cena is bringing the energy. He's amplified. The crowd loves to see him. I don't mind seeing Jonathan Cena these days. Before, I was never a big John Cena fan. I feel he clogged the highway. No stars could really become stars because Cena was clogging all of the lanes of the highway. And it's not just his fault. Vincent Kennedy deserves that blame as well for allowing that to happen. But yeah, I just never was big on Jonathan Cena. But now I can appreciate him a little bit more, especially with such the lack of star power in WWE over the years. Again, how ironic. Some of it's caused by John Cena, and because of that, we enjoy seeing Cena more than ever when he comes back. Go figure. But anyway, this was a good pop. I didn't mind seeing him, but it literally led to nothing. And when I say nothing, I mean nothing. Because AJ Styles then comes out to the ring. And they're talking about a tag team match with Solo and Jimmy. So then Solo and Jimmy come down the aisle. That's it, just down the aisle a little bit. They stare at Cena and Styles, and then they just walk away. And we went to commercial break. That's it, guys. I'm not leaving anything out. Solo and Jimmy just come down a little bit. They stare. They don't say a word. I don't even think Paul was with them, so Paul definitely didn't say anything. They just stared at Cena and Styles, and then they just walked away after 30, 40 seconds. And that's supposed to get you excited for the next 2 hours of SmackDown. When I say we could have done a little bit more, we could have done a little bit more. Now, at the end of the show, it makes a little bit more sense. Maybe all of their creative juices, everybody mustered whatever they had, put all of their creativity together in a ball, and they used up all of their creative powers at the end of the night. Maybe that's what happened. Because the start of this show, when the word anticlimactic is an understatement. And then we went into the first matchup of the night. This was Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar of the LWO versus Ford and Dawkins of the Street Business. Mysterio pins Dawkins via the awe-inspiring, ultra-devastating Faroot Roll-Up. You know, the awe-inspiring, ultra-devastating Faroot Roll-Up. Rey Mysterio hits Dawkins. Please think about that for a second. Little Ray, and probably the biggest guy in the match, Dawkins. And for those of you that are thinking, well, it was kind of like a hold. Yeah, we consider that a roll-up. Guys, anything that involves just holding your opponent down, we call that a roll-up on this channel. So if you think about it, it's almost like a sunset flip type position where Dawkins just kind of goes ass over tea kettle, and then Ray just puts his legs holding down the arms of Dawkins. We still consider that a roll-up because it's just holding no move was done to Dawkins. Nothing knocked him out. Nothing sent him for a loop. It wasn't even a clothesline or a DDT. Nothing. Ray just held his arms down. We call that a roll-up, and we say that's not believable. Dawkins can't just get his shoulder a centimeter up a little bit off of Ray's leg. I hate these finishes, but it's what we got last night, guys. And if you're wondering how we set it up, I actually didn't mind this. This is the one thing I did like. Lashley chokeslams Mysterio. on the ring apron, rolls Mysterio into the ring, and he's yelling at Dawkins to finish the job. Finish him! What is that, Mortal Kombat? Some shit. Finish him! Fatality! But Dawkins is hesitant. Dawkins is like, I don't want to do Ray dirty like that. He thinks it's not that long of a hesitation, but it's long enough for Ray to be like, whoa, I'm gonna hold you down and pin you now. But I don't mind the hesitation because it's believable, right? Lashley's yelling at Dawkins. What are you doing? I taught you what to do. And Dawkins is still fighting with that good guy, bad guy mentality. Like, I know what our new mission is and our new goal forming with Bobby, but I also do have these friends like Ray. So, in all seriousness, I like this because it's more believable. That the Street Profits would be a little hesitant, right? That they still have so many friends. They still are about a good time. And they're having a little bit of an issue. They thought this transition would be a little easier, but it's a lot harder. And what Bobby is asking them to do they have it in them? And eventually, I want them to find that mean streak and absolutely go berserker. Remember the old berserker? Just go fucking haywire and shred up Rey Mysterio. It could lead to something cool. I don't mind how they did this at all. In fact, I prefer this. And it takes something that was already stale. The Street Business just got together and they're already... I don't even know if stale is the word. Most of us don't even care. It's almost like they just took Bobby, they just took this tag team, they threw them together, and they thought that we were going to like them more because now we're calling them a faction. When there's nothing new about it. There's nothing they're doing that's like, oh, them three together is more special than them separately. This is a lair that can get people like BC way more interested in this, and it did last night. It's just ironic. It's funny because Bobby stormed off because Dawkins didn't listen to him, and then they were arguing backstage. Bobby's like, give back the watches, give back X, Y, and Z, because if you can't handle what I'm asking you to do, then this is already over. So they just got together a month or two ago, and they're already breaking up storyline-wise. It's funny. But I actually like this. Be interesting if they even know creatively where they're going next. I hope so, because this could be something interesting. Then we get a video package that airs for Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Well, wouldn't it have been better to play that video package and those vignettes and bump up Alba and Isla before they debuted? Or is that asking too much? Instead, they just have them pop up on the show. First of all, they're drafted, I think, to SmackDown, originally anyway. And then they have them just show up with the NXT tag titles and lose. So they can merge the titles and then they're not seen again. Now, I understand one of them might have been injured, I guess. But, I mean, just not doing those type of vignettes to really make your casual audience understand, get to know who they are, rather than just pop up on the show with titles, lose the match, and they're gone. Now they want to start doing some vignettes and video packages. Anyway, at least, what I will say is beggars can't be choosers, right? Let's try this again. We wanted something better for Alba and Isla. Beggars can't be choosers. At least they're giving them videos and vignettes now. Let's try this again. And it's funny. You throw in a Sister Abigail, and you basically have WWE's version of Hocus Pocus. What do they call them? The Sanderson sisters? You bring in Sister Abigail, you got her with somebody like Isla and Alba. Damn, man. That could be a sinister trio. Obviously, I'm just playing around, but as I'm joking about it, I don't think I would mind if they ignited a Sister Abigail. I think Bray Wyatt, that would make him proud, actually. But man, not coming from the brainchild of Bray, that would be kind of odd. Interesting. Up next, speaking of the ladies, Asuka versus Iyo Sky for the Women's Championship. This ended hour number 1 and took us well into hour number 2. Charlie Flair is at ringside because the company just did not trust these two Japanese women to take up this much time on their precious primetime SmackDown on Fox. Asuka versus Iyo is a dream match for many of us, but WWE felt that we needed Charlie Flair to be involved because Charlie has to be involved in everything. If it's a main event for the ladies at a WrestleMania or a big premium live event matchup, if it's another championship victory, if it's a big spot on TV, Charlie has to be involved. So there she is for no reason. I mean, no reason. The match is about to begin. Charlie's music hits. And I'm like, what are we doing? Is somehow she walking away with the title? I mean, you got to think this. When Charlie is involved with anything near a championship, you got to believe she's about to be a 15-time champ. Anyway, this matchup, Iyo pins Asuka clean with her over-the-moonsault finisher. Clean victory. There was something on the outside where, like, Charlie took out Bayley. I don't know about Dakota. She's not cleared. Maybe something with Dakota. But I think Charlie took out Bayley or something. And Asuka was, like, a little... It like, got her attention or something. And she's looking like, but what are you doing? You're not part of Damage Control. Why would you care if Charlie's taking out Bayley? Bayley's not helping you. So it was weird that they made Asuka kind of get... Distracted is the word that I want. Thank you. I couldn't think of it. Distracted by Charlie taking out Bayley. And all of a sudden, Asuka takes her eye off of Iyo because of what's happening on the outside. It didn't make sense. And then moments later, you get the over-the-moonsault. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to say, it may have been clean technically, BC, but it wasn't really clean. She was distracted by what was happening with Charlie and Bayley. No, that's a clean victory over Asuka. And I can't say I hate it. This really bumps up the status of Iyo. Finally, a match for Iyo, not just with the championship, but a match where she was a definitive kick-ass winner. And over a victory over Asuka, that gives you that status. Hate to see it for Asuka. She was just the champion just a few months ago. Last month. And she didn't even get... It was another time where Asuka didn't even get a proper title reign. She's 0-5 at WrestleMania. You have a laundry list of ways that Asuka has been done dirty. So I guess you could add this to that laundry list. But the positive that this does for Iyo is next level, man. This is a victory that makes even the casual fan that maybe never gave Iyo a second look, this allows them to now do such. It was a calling card to those that never saw Iyo as a shining bright star. Oh, she's one of the brightest stars, trust me. Give her a chance, and as long as this company gives her a chance, you'll see just how special Iyo is. It was a good matchup. It should have been at a PLE PPV. That's all I'm going to say. We could have done without the commercial breaks. It ruins the flow in the pacing of the match. It affects everything. And then you have time constraints, which are much deeper, much more magnified than time restraints on a PLE. So for many reasons, I'm against this on TV. Could have and should have been even better, but this was damn good between these two. And I don't hate the finish. I wish Charlie wasn't involved in it somehow. With the slight distraction on the outside. But that was your main event because... Was it the main event? No, it was not. That was not the main event. That just took us out of hour 1 into hour number 2. Grayson Waller and Austin Theory defeating Butch and Holland was the main event. I know. I'm going to say that again. Grayson Waller and Austin Theory versus Butch and Holland was your main event. And that's because the whole end of SmackDown was reserved for John Cena's segment with the Bloodline. So we'll get to that in a minute. In this matchup, Austin Theory defeated Holland, I believe, with A-Town Down. I don't have it in the notes, but I believe from what I can recall, that's how this match finished. And it's funny because Michael Cole and Corey Graves really try to sell Theory, but nobody cares. And I mean nobody. Again, nobody dislikes Theory. We want the best for him. but it's just not working. I say this a million times like a broken record. I'll probably have to say it another million times. John Cena had to tell him face-to-face, middle of the ring, live, that the reason they have to pipe in boos is because nobody cares about you. They don't believe in you. They think you're boring. Guys, here we are just a few months later. Nothing's changed. Austin Theory just does not make people care. That's not shade. We want the best for him. But man, if what you did for the Money in the Bank cash-in, when it was completely botched and everybody said, well, don't worry, it was needed because he's been reset. He hasn't been reset. He's been set back even more steps. I liked him better when he had his damn cell phone taking the damn selfies. I don't know what this Austin Theory is supposed to do. You stick him with another obnoxious prick like Grayson Waller. Now you're just hindering two dudes at once. Find something to do with Grayson Waller. He's got talent. He can go on the microphone. Don't weigh him down with an anchor like Theory. Just because you have nothing for Theory, don't bring down Grayson Waller too. Because this is not going to help Waller. Nobody cared about this match. It's not helping Theory. It's not helping Waller. Don't take my word for it. Check. Look at the match. Look at the finish. Look after Theory pins Holland. That tells you everything you need to know. And that's what we're waiting 2 hours on a SmackDown to watch in our wrestling main event. Just saying, man, we can do better. We have to do better. Austin Theory is in there with The Rock. Austin Theory is in there with Jonathan Cena. And Austin Theory still is not getting the response that they hope for. That should be a red flag. That's a problem. They're putting all the chips on this kid without actually building him correctly. It's going to take more than just shoving him down everybody's throat. That you did that with Roman Reigns for years and it didn't work. Finally, Roman and Paul Heyman walk into Vince's office and say, when I come back, everything's got to change. And sure enough, after they changed things for real, everybody started caring about Roman. They refused to change anything with Charlie, and that's why Charlie still, to this very day, there's no connection with the majority of the fans. Austin Theory, there's not a connection with the minority of the fans. Nobody cares about Theory. That's a problem. And now you're going to take down Grayson Waller too? We can do better, WWE. Let's do it. Jonathan Cena, AJ Styles, Solo Sikoa, Jimmy Uso, and Paul Heyman end the show. This was epic. No other way to say it. Let me get a swig of, oh no, my last swig of this vanilla latte, man. Then we got to re-up. We got to double fist some more coffees at the end of this recording. But let me get a swig of coffee, and we're going to talk about WWE actually putting an effort at the end of this show and what it resulted in. So Cena comes to the ring for this contract signing. There's a table in the middle of the ring. Adam Pearce is there with his little contract notebook folder. Remember Trapper Keepers when you were younger? You guys ever have the Trapper Keeper? It's got the Velcro. You open it up. It's got a little bit of a notebook. It's got a ruler. It's got a little clipboard thingy you can clip pages in. And of course, the folder. You put all your work in, two different sides. Trapper Keeper. I don't know what made me think of that. But anyway, there's Adam Pearce with his little Trapper Keeper. John Cena immediately signs it. He's not wasting any time. AJ Styles' music hits. Styles is nowhere to be found. He doesn't come through the curtain. John Cena, everybody's like, where's Styles at? We cut to the back. Styles is getting beat up by Jimmy Uso. Jimmy throws him over these electrical equipment boxes. Up high, about 15-ish feet, 15 to 20 feet is Solo Sikoa. Now, you can't see AJ Styles. He's been thrown over these electrical equipment boxes, but Jimmy is over on the right side of these boxes. Styles has been thrown over them, and Solo is way up high. Solo screams out and then leaps, dives off of that podium he was up on, and storyline-wise, lands on top of AJ Styles way down below onto some tables. Now, of course, this was probably just a big air mattress, something like that. that he landed on, a stunt that was obviously rehearsed beforehand. And that's what I mean about just caring about what you're doing, right? Putting in effort. It takes time. It takes resources, no question. But it's a television show. Care about it so your audience gives a shit about it. So he dives off and they do this big thing where I forgot if we cut to commercial first or not, but when we come back from commercial, they're trying to throw all of these electrical equipment boxes to the side. Referees, medical staff, suits and ties. Cena at that point ran to the back to help out. They're throwing this equipment out so they can try to get medical attention to Styles. And then we see Styles and he's totally out. Totally out, knocked out. He's through tables. Solo Sikoa crushed AJ Styles from way up high with that Samoan splash. And it was just so well done. They're loading up AJ Styles into an ambulance. Jimmy, Uso, and Solo are flipping tables. They sent a statement as they walk off. Styles is being loaded into an ambulance. Mia Yim, Munchkin is trying to get into the ambulance. Carl Anderson is like, I told him not to get involved with the Bloodline. Munchkin, Mia Yim is like, not now, Carl, now's not the time. So Carl Anderson and Mia get into the ambulance with AJ. That drives off. Cena is stunned. And after another commercial break, Solo and Jimmy go to the ring with Paul Heyman. They sign the contract. Paul talks a lot of shit. Jonathan Cena comes back to the ring. Now, he knows he's probably going to get his ass whooped, but he's going to get himself a piece at least. And he starts to attack on Jimmy and Solo, but the numbers game adds up and they destroy Jonathan Cena. I'm talking Solo spikes, Samoan splashes. I think Solo might have done one, but Jimmy Uso did a couple of them. And that ends the show. Solo, Jimmy, and Paul Heyman standing over and absolutely decimated, annihilated Jonathan Cena as we fade to black and end the show. That was an audible, guys. We're hearing exactly what I told you in yesterday's podcast before SmackDown. Look for John Cena to do something with LA Knight last night. And that was the original plan. We were hearing that LA Knight was supposed to save Cena. So Styles is written out of the match at Fastlane. And LA Knight saves John Cena. LA Knight puts himself into the equation with the Bloodline. And this is another seed toward Roman Reigns, LA Knight. So that's exactly what was supposed to happen. Unfortunately for LA Knight, he ended up catching the COVID-19. So we got to give a salute to LA Knight. We hope for a speedy recovery, but he did catch the COVID-19. He was told to stay away from the arena. All the best. Speedy recovery. That's what he was told. So that's why you didn't see LA Knight last night. A lot of people like BC were thinking, are they really that far away on a deal? Like LA Knight has not signed yet because of money we're hearing. They can't come to a figure that they're both happy with. So are they just going to keep him off the air? But then we find out that he had the COVID-19. But the original plan was for LA Knight to save Cena. So this wasn't audible, and I don't mind it at all. You know, I miss the days where the heels would just beat the shit out of the face, and that's how we ended the show. Today's day and age, everybody has to have a smile on their face, right? The heroes have to somehow prevail. Just let your hero get his ass whooped, fade to black, and make everybody have to wait another week, at least, to see the hero overcome the odds. That's how you tell stories in pro wrestling. You used to have to make your audience pay money to see the face finally get the ultimate revenge. For weeks, the heel would beat up on the good guy. So I don't mind the audible. It would have been awesome to hear L.A. Knight, right? And everybody's, yeah. Everybody's shouting out their yeahs and L.A. Knight saves Cena. Okay. But this allows Cena to just get annihilated. The heels have their epic night, and now John Cena is going to be seeking that revenge. The audience is going to want to see the Bloodline have to pay for that. I like this a lot, but I liked the entire segment and a half. When I say they let this breathe, they let it breathe. They gave it ample time. They gave this ample time. This started at like 9:38, 9:39. You're thinking this contract signing is going 20 some odd minutes over a couple of commercials? It's not even a match. And this is why. They had a whole stunt planned. They actually got creative. They put in effort. In the 5 years I've had, a little over 5 years I've had this channel, it's one of the biggest things I've preached. All we're asking for is put in the effort so the fans can care about this more. So that we have a fun product to watch. Effort! As I said, that takes time, energy, effort, resources to do. That's a whole stunt. When you have a wrestler diving, even though it's an air match, just one of those air pads, you still have to have your stunt coordinator going over that. Everything, your camera angles, everything has to be perfect. You have to rehearse it several times. That's what this does. It takes a lot of time, resources, energy, effort. But it's a television show. Every week you should be doing multiple segments like that. Not the same thing, obviously, but segments that they take time, effort, creativity, energy. Every segment you should be putting in creativity at the bare minimum. But it's those segments we used to get all the time, man. They used to have fun doing these shows. That's my point. The company used to have fun doing this. Vince McMahon used to have a blast creating Monday Night Raw and SmackDown and everybody that worked with him. For him, the creators, everybody just had fun, man. Every segment you had to beat WCW. Every segment had to be better than the last. How can you up it from last week or the last segment? They used to have fun. It used to be a television show you could not miss. Appointment television is an understatement. It was must-see TV personified. And then every show for the last 10 years plus, it just seems so formulaic. The matches are all redundant. Nobody cares about it. It's not fun. It's regurgitated. You could tell the company's not having fun. You could tell the company's not putting any time into any of this. No creativity, no effort, no resources. Last night, man, they let an entire, almost 2 full segments breathe. They put in the effort. Take it to the backstage and let's really tell a story, man. Put on a television show. It's what it is. I could not be any more happier than I am with the finish of SmackDown. We need more of that. It's a television show. Make it such. It's not a real sport. Sorry to break that to you. I don't want to be the one to tell you Santa Claus isn't real or the Easter Bunny. I don't want to be the person to do such. So I won't. But I will tell you, this is pre-planned. It's predetermined. It's scripted. It's rehearsed. Sports entertainment is actually a good phrase for what we watch and love. So if you just watch for Wrestler A to take on Wrestler B, for all the cool moves and sequences and to see who really is the better wrestler than the other, I don't know how you stumbled across professional wrestling. Maybe amateur wrestling's better for you. Maybe UFC, maybe boxing. Pro wrestling is more than that. It's larger than life characters with storylines on a television show. Hope you guys know the difference, man. And I hope we see more of what we saw last night. The finish of SmackDown was absolutely tremendous. And I don't even use the word tremendous. That tells you something. Guys, shout out to some Amplified Unit members that chucked some coffees to the channel recently through the Super Thanks option down below. I call them Super Thanks Super Chats. And the fact that you guys chuck a coffee to the channel on regular uploaded podcasts, that is so awesome, man. It's never needed, but it's always appreciated. JR9 Gaming with his NXT report and review this week. Solid as always. Check it out if you guys haven't already. MD20. I thank you for the kind words, man. Appreciate the coffee. Appreciate the words. And I appreciate having you a part of the Amplified Unit. MD20. And Anise Sarwar, who pops in from time to time. I appreciate the coffee, Anise. More importantly, I appreciate seeing you up in here, man. Hopefully all is good. One of my tried and trues from way back, Anise Sarwar. And if there's any others that I missed, All apologies. It's been a wild week of news and a lot of topics that needed to be discussed. In fact, this is pretty much my 6th upload in the past 3 days. So that's what I mean. It's been a lot. So if there was other coffees chucked to the channel and I wasn't able to give a shout out, just know that I did catch it and I very much appreciate it. So that's where we're going to end now. Until next time, and there will be a next time. Top guys, we're out. BC saying check you. Peace.